Oh, easy, Bob. Nope, don't. Come on, Bob. Go in or out. Okay. If Bob will leave me alone. I've been watching some of the stuff from the Democrats now. You know, they're all in a tizzy. And here comes Bob. And it's kind of funny, you know. I don't know how we ended up with this, where we got this two-party system, and people are bound and determined they have to vote along party lines, and people are just rattled that two of these Democrats don't really want to go along with this nonsense. It amazes me, you know, when they do these votes, if you're watching this like C-SPAN, that more people don't cross party lines. You're not there to strictly adhere to some party line. You're there to represent the people. You know, I don't quite understand that. You know, but they're all worked up because of these two that aren't cooperating. I know the one time when they were doing this nonsense and they weren't even showing up, and they didn't even have to come in. They just gave Pelosi their votes. She could do with them whatever she wanted. You know, you just surrender your votes to her. I thought that was just ridiculous. I think they have to show up and they have to vote to represent their people, the people who elected them. Anything else is just wrong. I don't know why there isn't more people that are independent. I don't know why it has to be, you know, sticking with that party deal. I remember one time somebody got elected. It was a Democrat. And they were surprised, you know, they hadn't been in this political nonsense before. And they found out when they got to Washington that they really couldn't do anything because all their time had to be spent trying to raise money for that party, because the party said, we got you elected, you owe us, now you produce. So they were on the phone all the time, and the stupid part was, you know, they couldn't do this from their office. Technically that wasn't legal, so they were sitting out in the parking lot on their phone, spending all day calling around trying to get more money for the party. You know, and I thought, what in the hell? You know, it didn't make any sense. That isn't what they were hired to do, or elected to do. That was, their job was to represent the people, not represent the party. There's always got to be party lines all the time. I don't understand that. You know, but man, these people, they're worked up about these two, that they ain't going along with the program. Now, odds are, they probably will end up going along with the program. I would hope not. I would hope they would have some integrity, but you don't know. You know, there's a lot of pressure on them. And a lot of times it's all about the money. You know, if they can get more money for their state, or, you know, that's how it works, kind of. But that wheeling and dealing like that just drives me nuts. You know, there's a right and a wrong in this. And the stuff that they're trying to push through in this bill, there is so much wrong in there. You know, just, I don't know why they can't, there again, why they can't have a clean bill. Why, you know, like say, why doesn't an infrastructure bill actually, at least in the majority of the money should go for infrastructure? But no, what is it, like 10% they figure was going to go for infrastructure. And they want to change, you know, what infrastructure is. Oh, it's human infrastructure. Right? They're a slippery pack. But this, I find that very annoying. I would like to see somebody who actually has a conscience in there rather than having to do the party bidding all the time. And I'm glad these two are evidently doing that, but, you know, I doubt their motives, I guess, because, oh, that dog is going to cause me trouble. He doesn't work out well in here. He's not a handy animal to have in a confined area. But it's actually, you know, like I say, I was watching some, like on MSNBC, some of the nonsense they were talking there. And even in the comments, my God, you read these comments. There they say handy animal. People are just nuts. You know, that it's incredible to me that they don't know what's in this bill. They just figure something in there is going to give them some money. You know, that makes it good. And their hope is that, well, they won't have to pay for it. But somebody's got to pay for this stuff. And the whole idea of, like, they want to hire a hell of a lot more IRS agents. Well, that's never going to be a nice thing. Don't need any more of them. There's way too many of them now. I was wondering where the valve guys were. And then that whole, you know, there's so much little stuff in there, like that whole thing about, ooh, anytime if you deposit anything more than $600 or take anything more than $600 out of the bank, they want to know. You know, they want to know everything. And I think you have some sort of right to some kind of privacy in your dealings. You know, I don't think that this should all be open to government scrutiny constantly. You know, to me, that's just very annoying. But evidently some people think this is great. It's going to come back to bite them. It's bound to. But they have this idea that this will work out just fine. But I'm glad to see these two are actually standing up a little right now. It can't be an easy thing to do. But if you've got any conscience at all, there's got to be a point in here you got to say, oh, Matt, you know, you have to look at what this is. And if you know this isn't going to be good, why would you go along with it? You know. So I'm hoping they stick with it, but like I say, you know, they're Democrats, so you don't know. But even Republicans, you don't know, you know. But boy, the slippery maneuvering behind the scenes kind of stuff, that really should be a lot more out in the open. Well, we'll see what happens with this. But this will be a disaster if it gets approved. But, you know, just having Biden in there is a disaster. But yet you go and you look and you see in the comments on some of these videos, oh, this is the best president ever. Everything is just hunky-dory. It's just we've got a utopia brewing. Boy, I don't see it. I don't see that at all. They've got to learn to back off and let people run their own lives, you know, but no, they want to be involved in everything. But I guess, you know, evidently there's a lot of people who think that they want the government in every aspect of their life. And I don't want them in any aspect of my life. But some people are all for that. But I'm glad to see, you know, two people standing up to it. But, you know, right now, they're scheming. Well, they got to get them out of there any way they can, you know, because they ain't going along with the agenda. But I hope they got the integrity to actually stand their ground. But I haven't seen a lot of integrity in the Democratic Party. I just haven't. And so I do have my doubts. But I would like to see, you know, when these votes come up, it shouldn't be a foregone conclusion that it's going to go one way or the other. You shouldn't say, oh yeah, you know, we know how this person is going to vote. They should be able to make up their own mind. There shouldn't be all this pressure. But yeah, they even drug old Biden out. Like that's going to convince somebody. I think if I was voting against something that he wanted, and he came and tried to convince me to vote along with him, just the mere sight of him would be enough to make me say, "Oh, yeah, I'm thinking right now." He is not a persuasive man. That's a shame. But hopefully, you know, they can drop this, but I don't see it. They're staking everything on this. But it's such a jumble of stuff all thrown together. And they always put on, you know, some catchy name that's supposed to just blanket cover the whole thing. And, you know, when they were squawking about, oh, the government could shut down. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, you know, that was all for it. Shut that bitch down. You know, there's more talk of splitting up the states. And I really, you know, when they do polls on this, the majority of people are actually for it. Because it's gotten to the point where really there's just no purpose in continuing pushing this. We're never going to get along. We're never, the people in the middle of the country are never going to agree with the people on the coast. Our whole philosophies of life are completely different. There's no way that we can ever get along. So, you know, I think being separate would be the way to go. It's becoming more obvious by the day. I don't see any reason why not. You know, people, oh, we gotta stick together as one country, but we aren't one country, not at all. We're completely. We got like a good 4 countries brewing, and I think we should just, you know, since this country is basically just collapsing, all right, break it up. Because I think us people in the middle of the country, we could be just fine. We really don't need you guys. You know, the other ends of the country are no purpose to us. You're nothing but a hindrance. So I'd be glad to be rid of them. It's not an easy thing to do, but I can't see the attitudes changing. So, yeah, go ahead, break it up. I'd be happier. I think a lot of people would be a lot happier. And I swear, I don't see how it can't come to that in the end. I mean, it almost has to, because we're not getting, you know, the great uniting the people. No, it ain't going to happen. There's no way. There's irreconcilable differences. There's no way we're ever going to get along. So I think just call the whole thing off, split it up, and go from there. It's the only reasonable thing. But they want us because they want to keep taking our money so they can keep spending it in crazy ways. And we're supposed to go along with that. I don't want to go along with that. Majority of people don't.